Today we get to start and finish something that has been long overdue, and that is we need to finish a couple things on my 93 convertible 300ZX. So for those of you guys who missed out, last video we actually got our slick top fully buttoned up and we drove it up to Chicago to Prism Ike's project car meet. And while this car a week prior was a complete shell and not driven in 8 months prior, we had a lot in over our heads, but we prevailed and we actually got the car done and we made it to the show. Now that we have our slick top running and all together, the car is staying this way. I'm not pulling the motor out again, even though I want to do X, Y, and Z. It's just not gonna happen. I need this car to drive. And the reason I need this car to drive is because when we finish this convertible, we actually need to send this down to Indianapolis for a trade. And in trade for the convertible, we're actually going to be getting the rear collision damage here on my slick top fixed. You guys can tell that hatch does not shut. I have this trim kind of making up the gap so it doesn't look as crazy. Yeah, you can just tell. So the trunk rails on this car are actually kinked completely. Yeah, that's supposed to be straight. We actually get to go down there with him while we work on this, and we get to help him out, lend him a hand, and record and document the whole process. So that is why I'm getting so gung-ho on getting this car done. So today, to get this convertible finished, we have 3 things to do. I really am only prioritizing 2 of them. Old style fuel injectors on the Z are very prone to failure. They were not made with ethanol content in mind back in 1990, so they wear out, get stuck open, and honestly are a major liability for your Z. So we always want to upgrade to new style injectors on any Z that you have. The only workaround is if you have ethanol free gas. The only place I've seen that is out west. We have tons of corn here in Indiana, so everything has ethanol in it. No go. Unless you're tuned on E85, obviously, but that's a turbo thing. The other thing is a carrier bearing and brakes. So the brakes on this thing, the pads and rotors are very worn out and warped. Well, we're actually going to take these pads and rotor combo because they really don't feel bad at all. And we're going to swap those per corner to this convertible. And as far as the carrier bearing goes, my carrier bearing is completely gone on this car. Like, there is a full inch around the drive shaft between the bearing bracket where there's just nothing. When you're revving to take off, since it's a 5-speed, it vibrates so bad. Well, let's just say we found an auto drive shaft that I had back in all my parts, and you're actually able to separate these because this right here is a flange just like your diff, and it bolts on right here. In between it on this side is where your carrier bearing goes. Sorry for the fan, it's super hot. But this is an OEM good condition carrier bearing, so we're actually going to swap this over onto the drive shaft in the Z. I was worried about this for a while. I had no idea, especially that I could do this at home. I thought this is somewhere that I'd have to send it off to. For my truck, it's a slip fit, and that's not something I know how to mess with. But this, plug and play. So we're going to show you guys how to change this. And once we're done with these couple things today, we're actually going to head over to Brad's and we're going to help put a Dodge Stealth back together and hopefully get it fired up after we just did the oil pan, all the timing, and then they put it back in the car. So let's go grab some tools and let's get to work pulling some brakes off of this thing. So earlier, we actually went ahead and just pulled these brakes off. It got so hot outside, which it still is. It's 90 degrees outside. It's unbearable. But we managed to get those off before we went to Brad's. We actually didn't get to work on the Stealth that much. We just worked on a couple other cars and got them all buttoned up. But now, we just went out, we grabbed the drive shaft. I was gonna record, but oh my goodness, the sweat bees are on full force right now. I kid you not, there was 200 of them on me. Like, I had just seen sweat bee army. Not to mention all the mosquitoes mixed in. But here, we've got our drive shaft off. As you can tell, our carrier bearing is completely shot. The whole bracket, I can slide anywhere on the trans that I want. You can do this in the car. It'll definitely make it easier, I would say, to get these two halves apart, since you can keep it bolted to the diff, keep it in gear, e-brake on, wheels chalked. If not, you're stuck doing this. We've been soaking with some PB Blaster, put a 14 mil wrench on, try to like kink your drive shaft to keep it from spinning, and crack each of our nuts loose. So let's go ahead and just pull all 4 of these out and separate this drive shaft. Once we get all them out, Just separate it, giving it a couple taps. And now we have our rear shaft separated from our front shaft. I can't guarantee everyone has an impact. However, I see no reason that you couldn't clamp this up in a vise, keep it from moving, and just torque this nut off. It's about just like an axle nut. It's 27 mil. I am lucky enough to have a 1/2 inch impact. So I'm sorry if this turns some of you guys off of this job, but I promise it is not impossible if you don't have an impact. You can do what you were doing to take these nuts off. Just put kind of like a breaker bar, hit it with a hammer a couple times while trying to keep it from spinning. I'm sure that'll do the trick. Now I'm sure this part probably comes down to what tools you got. I feel like you could just get this to slide off by tapping it with a hammer a couple times. However, I have found out that a 3-jaw puller does wonders with this. We're just going to slowly tighten this till we can pull it off. Pull this off. Now pay attention right here as soon as you pull that off. You see that little copper crush washer? That goes on this side because it's got a crush in between this. You can see on the inner lip it's machined. Oh man, this one's not just sliding off. Uh-oh. Now what I've done is I've chipped away at all the excess rubber, and we're actually using the 3-jaw puller on it once again. We can try to grab that metal lip and pull this thing out. I don't know. I think it's coming. Hey, it came off. Sweet. We've actually already removed the crush washer. We're actually going to use the other one since it's on the other carrier bearing. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Take our new bearing, slide her on, and align our crush washer. Take our flange. A wooden block would be much better here, but we're just going to use this. At least it's not spinning anymore. And it also appears the punch mark is in the correct position. So we're going to find something to notch that back in so to keep it from, spinning off. And we can begin to reassemble our drive shaft. And we now officially have a working carrier bearing. Yes, progress. So we just got it put back together. Got it hammered tight, as tight as you can get it with it off the car. And it's time that we can put it back on the car. If you guys can't tell, I'm very miserable right now. I'm literally just dripping. It's looking like we got a front coming in. I may just call it quits for now. Keep the car up on blocks. We can come out here first thing this evening after we go grab some food, or we'll be back in the morning. I don't know. We'll see. I just know that I'm hungry right now. And it's the next morning. Let's get this drive shaft put back in the car, and let's make some progress today, because I am ready to get this car done. Grab our trusty mat. And I have a feeling we're going to be getting attacked by sweat bees yet again today. Appears I have a little bit less room than I remember due to only having the rear lifted up. So we're actually just going to kind of do this the fast way. But we're actually feeding the drive shaft through here. Once we can get it in place, we'll thread the 4 bolts back here. Really just trying not to eat all these spider webs or think about being claustrophobic. So let's do it with the quickness. Finally, my least favorite part of today. Guess I can't say least favorite. Unfortunately, this was the easiest thing we're doing. Now we have to go replace each brake rotor, each set of brake pads between sides. We got to bleed the brakes one final time. Just a couple pumps through each side. Yay! And let's just take a moment and admire that underbody. Dang, that looks so nice. Makes me super sad that this isn't my car, and I have to do this all over again. But I came across some knowledge or information recently that's going to make all of that much easier when it comes down to it. Before we get on to our pad and rotor swap here on all 4 corners, which I just got laid out. So I actually got to thank you guys. We actually just hit 2,000 subs within a day or 2 ago, and I can't thank you enough. Especially that we hit it this soon in the year. That's incredible, because we hit 1,000 at the beginning or the very end of last year. So that's killer. Thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, I was a little worried at the beginning of the year that I set my yearly goal for this year a little too high at 2,500, but I think you guys are going to kill that anyway. So again, thank you guys. Now let's get back to the Z. I say a ratcheting wrench is your best friend on your rear calipers, as long as you can get them cracked loose. So here's our spare caliper that we're going to take apart. Take our pin out, make sure not to lose any of this. Here's our slide pins. Now these look to be a little rusty and seized. I went ahead and grabbed some grease so we can lube these dudes up. Yeah, we're going to have to wire wheel these things. These things are crusty. Forgot about that. Almost conked me in the face. So don't do that. There we go. Crusty. Let's take these, swap them over, and I'll grease up and wire wheel some of these pins just in case you need a little more visual representation. And let's assemble our caliper. So here's one of our pins. So basically we're just going to take a wire wheel, clean it up, make it as shiny and even again as possible. Obviously it's ideal to just use new ones. These things are pretty beat. However, we can clean them up enough to make them work, grease them up, and have some good working brakes. That's quick. Garbage. Now let's put everything back together, fix our caliper, rebuild it, and get this side done. Now there's one down and we've got 3 to go. So we actually need to bleed this one out real quick. We're just going to do a couple pumps to see what the fluid's looking like. Put our single man bleeder system on. Crack the bleeder. Alright, 1 down, 3 to go, plus 2 ABS bleeders. So we're going to go ahead and knock all 3 of these out, not show you the same thing 4 times in a row, and hopefully we have great success. Now we've got all 4 corners bled. Let's move to the ABS unit. Let's actually bleed our front and rears off of this. That'll finish us up. Let's see if we get any air bubbles. Looks good to me. Now let's check the rears. 1 air bubble. Alright, we're fully bled now. I guess we can start putting everything back and then we can take it for a drive. Yeah, I'm not playing. Let's drive this thing. Just got the jump pack on. Both the front tires aired up to at least 30-35 psi. Should have had enough time now to charge up, I would have thought. We're gonna just drive this thing around town first, see if we can get the battery charged up at all. I'm not gonna make any crazy drives. So we actually did a few things. We tightened up the crank pulley just to make sure that it was a torque spec. It wasn't all the way there, so I'm glad we rechecked that. Topped up power steering fluid. I don't know, let's see how it goes. The brakes feel a lot better, like the pedal feel at least. Let's see if the brakes themselves and the vibration is totally fixed. Oh, I got bird crap right in the middle of my vision. My favorite. Brakes are feeling funny. I don't know how I feel about that. The booster's not bad. I guess here's the true test of my new underbody. Driving through fresh gravel road. It doesn't feel much better. I'm just finding that hard to believe that the brakes are doing that bad, or maybe the wheel bearing's toast or something, for all I know. That's probably my luck, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know, this thing like has virtually no brakes at all either. I'm wondering if the master cylinder crapped out from it sitting so long. That would be just my luck once again. I'd be lying if I said all these weird little issues on this car have not just been making me want to part it out or just sell it cheap. sell it as a shell, get my whatever I need out of it. Because this is really putting a bad taste in my mouth. It almost just makes me want to get the cash to get the Z done instead of trading this car for it. I'm over it at this point. You know, some big things coming up in life, and this thing's kind of just holding me back at this point. I'm losing it. Well, I'm honestly trying to be pretty optimistic here, but it's kind of hard to when every time I try to work and fix the last literal 2% on this car, it just never goes my way. And I've had it up to here. I almost feel bad to even finish this thing and to let Eric have it to fix my car. I almost feel like I'm getting one over on him. This thing sucks. Once again, this is what I get for always working on old pieces of crap that everyone's forgotten about. It's never a nice, taken care of, well-kept, maintained car, ever. I don't know, I guess I need to collect my thoughts and reevaluate, because at this point in time, I'm ready to send it to the crusher. Not literally, but yeah. I could get $500 for this windshield if I can get it out without damaging it. That in itself makes me want to just sell this thing. I'm over it. We'll be back. It's the next day. I had quite a bit of thinking to do yesterday. I'm not going to talk about it much right now, but we're just going to take a breather from that car. Honestly, wanted to delete all the clips from yesterday and the day before and just start over here, but it's whatever. We're going to have a new goal for this video, because we're actually going to go do something tonight, which will be another video we're going to start working on. But my buddy is actually going to pick up his first project car. We're going to go scoop it tonight, so we're going to get this video somewhat to a stopping point today and try to see what all we can get done. So our main goal is we're going to try to get the engine and everything out of this Z. This is what we were working on before we got our slick top ready for the car meet. So now we can come back to this, since that's in a good enough position to run and drive and whatnot. So right now we're going to dive back into this. So this is my chassis number 3333, unique VIN. So we're pretty much with this car, we're just putting it all together, or taking it apart, putting it back together. It's been timed, resealed and whatnot. Oil pan hasn't been done, oil pan seals, rear main seal. So we're gonna take the time, do all those, pull the engine out, maybe get a new clutch. We'll see how it's looking. But we just wanna get this back to original driving 5-speed condition. Got like 112,000. We're just gonna have this as kind of a nicer white Z and go from there. Last I remember, we couldn't get the exhaust off, so let's lift this thing up. Let's grab that sawzall and chop this test pipe. Yikes. Now we're on blocks, sawzall in hand. Just what I needed. Nice. I keep seeing things that I don't like underneath this car. Why is there orange or red RTV on the transmission? Nothing like some good old rust all over my mat. It's not looking too good. Very rusty looking. We're just gonna settle for pulling the mufflers off right now. So these were actually originally my mufflers that I sold to them. Small world. And thankfully those are finally off. So much rust in my eyes. It's so sad to be underneath this car and just to see all these rusty and sad things I'm seeing. Here goes our final hoorah before it's time to go get a haircut. So hopefully we can get this exhaust pulled and everything else PB blasted. That last one didn't want to come out. Let's go get a knife or an 8mm, and let's do a number with those. As the second alarm just goes off, we just got to cut and pull it out. Now let's shut everything off, power, fan, and let's go get our hair cut. The best part of this is going to be the golf cart ride there, because I am burning up. Be back in a minute. Can't say I'm a crazy big fan, but we'll get over it. Hair will grow back. Let's get back to work. Now they've had some time to soak. Let's see if the hammer does the trick. Yeehaw. Last thing I want to have to do is to lift the car up to spin these though. Yes. Ended up finding there was a 10 mil on my half-inch drive set. Let's see if our last one can come off without breaking. I just had to say something, didn't I? Well, that stinks. Oh, looks like someone's dropped the nut up here from their shifter support. Now we can actually hit our carrier bearing, and that should pop that the rest of the way off. There we go. The problem is we got two bolts stuck in here. That's what's making it so hard to come out. We're going to start by taking this 12 mil bolt and this 13 mil nylon nut off. Usually it's a nylon nut if it's been replaced for like shifter bushings, you know, shifter, any of that. And there definitely shouldn't be a block of wood here. That's just been redneck ingenuity from someone. Once this is off, usually I'd take these 12 mils off here on the side. However, I think we're actually just going to disconnect this whole shifter assembly. I'm a little worried that these bolts are just going to break if we try to pull them off, and I don't have any extras, so that's the last thing I want happening right now. Now we got to hit one from the top, and the shifter should come out. Looks like we get some shifter bushings too. Block of wood. Comical. Nice. And it looks like we don't even have anything up here. Now that's a dub. Let go of it for half a second and about dropped it on my head. No idea what that is. Someone else's homemade battery harness? I have no idea. You never know what you're getting into with these things. I'll just unhook a couple trans connectors. Should be 3. Put my hands into the unknown up here. Could be a brown recluse for all I know. Appears we still have a slave cylinder to pop off. It's funny, I say something about a brown recluse and I got a spider crawling on my chest and my stomach under my shirt. I think it's about time we can start with the trans. We actually got all the bell housing bolts out. Now let's see how stiff and stuck this thing is. Oh, not very. Right on. Well, I definitely slid that down a little too fast and about totally crushed my hand, but we're all good. Gosh, that scared me for a second. Let's lug this big greasy thing out and start wheeling up into the barn. Now this big greasy thing's out, let's transform or teleport this inside of here. I'm beat, I'm sweaty, and my haircut makes me look like a little kid. Now we got the car pulled in. We actually got it pulled in last night. It is a new day. Our only goal is just to yank this motor out because we have to go edit a video. But we got the project car last night with my buddy Noah. All went well. And this evening we actually get to head back over there and we're going to try to get it fired up and get it working. I mean, it did fire up, but we got to do a few things to it, needless to say. I hope you guys are as excited for these videos as I am, because I've been dying to, you know, help a friend with a project car, and, you know, especially a different car at that. I love seeing and working on new stuff, especially because I can't wait to have one myself. Wow. Wasp just came at my face, dude. What the heck? That's not a good start. Before I was rudely interrupted, all we have to do here is we have our two little connections going to our AC condenser, or sorry, AC compressor. We'll pull those when the engine comes out, and our power steering pump. I guess we can go ahead and just pull this alternator and trans harness since it's just chilling right here. It's a good thing I've still got this pan of automatic trans fluid sitting around. Perfect for them power steering jobs. I guess we can start with that J hose. That's probably going to spit the most fluid out. Ooh, tasty. Someone has went full ugga-dugga on this thing. Dang. Wow, I feel like I just snapped my arm. Oh, here we go. The fun begins. By fun, I mean a total reseal and cleanup. I'm already sick of pulling this. Let's cut to the chase. Almost like it's magic. Well, we finally got the motor out. We've had a few things come to our attention that, you know, need attention. I'm sure you guys can see, yeah, you can see on the camera there. There's literally like a 1/4 inch of buildup along each of the walls. That's gonna make this way tougher to clean out. This is why you don't use stop leak in your cars, guys, because it's solidifying as it finds oxygen, hence your leak, because it should just be a closed loop system with full coolant, you know. When you have a leak and it just keeps bringing air into the system, you ended up clogging your whole engine essentially. So we're gonna have quite the joy cleaning all of that out. Yeah, disgusting. Let's push this car out so we can at least shut the garage or close the shop up for a little bit. Then we'll let you guys know what's going on with the vert. Hi, Tana. Well, we are kind of on the fence about the vert, you know. It's really frustrating every time that we start working on it, you know, things don't progress. And it's just getting to that point, like I almost just despise working on it in any way, shape, or form at this point. And that's not a good way to be about any car that you have that you need to get done. As long as everything goes as it has been, we're going to be getting in a house here in the next couple weeks or month or so. And it's actually a fully furnished garage. I've got wiring, I've got lights, drywall. Like it has everything for the viewing pleasure and viewing experience. Now, this allows me to have somewhere to store the car without having to constantly wrap the top up. That's the biggest thing right now. And that's a big reason why I want it gone. I have too many cars in my possession. I have too many cars around, and I really want to get mine fixed. I was about to the point of just parting out that vert. Just whatever, coming up with the 5-6 grand that I need to get my car fixed. I got to thinking it's just better off we get the car done. Unless we get this house with the new shop, I'm not making anything on the vert. I know I've said that before, but seriously, unless I get any headway, we actually know things are going good, then we'll go through with it. But this whole brake and vibration thing is literally driving me crazy. I'm so over it. Sorry for the repetition here of me starting something and stopping it. I really wish we could just have a breakthrough on this stinking car because I am over it, as you guys can tell. Especially now that Noah has a project car, this gives me something else to do versus sitting here bashing my head against these Z's all day and working on them. So that's going to be a nice little refresh or different taste, so to speak. I don't know why I'm even making this clip right now, to be honest. I'm just so frustrated with that thing, and I feel like I need to just kind of let you guys know where I stand. Yeah, we were kind of all over the place this video. At least we got the motor out. We can finally start resealing this thing, getting it back to its prime operating condition, and hopefully stuff it back in this car and make something shake. Again, I'm sorry, video's kind of bogus, but we're just gonna wrap it up here. I gotta keep the ball rolling, getting some things done. I really hurt my shoulder recently, so I've been trying to take it slow without making it worse when I really need to not work so I can rest it. But I've just been go so I can keep making content, keep getting some stuff out there for you guys, and to get some projects done at the same time. Again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you're as excited for Noah's project car as I am, and for some new content, especially with some of my friends, you know, get to shoot some crap and have some fun making videos instead of let's get this done. Thanks again, you guys. Stay tuned for next video, and we'll catch you then. Peace.